Well, good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar. My name's Michael Trick, and I'm the dean here at CMUQ, and I'm really delighted to have everybody here, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Dean's Lecture Series. Our guest today leads the Qatar National Bank, the largest bank in the Middle East and Africa. Mr. Abdulla Mubarak Al-Khalifa joined QNB nearly 30 years ago. And during that time, he served as Executive General Manager and Chief Business Officer. In 2018, he was appointed as Group CEO of QNB. In this position of leadership, Mr. Abdulla steered the bank through its partnership with FIFA as the official Middle East and Africa supporter of the World Cup 2022. And we all know the transformative effect the World Cup has had on Qatar. Mr. Abdulla also serves as the chairman of the board of directors of QNB Capital and QNB Swiss. He is a board member of Ooredoo, Qatar Airways, and the Qatar Stock Exchange. And in 2021, he was named one of Forbes' Middle East top CEOs. I would note that CMUQ has had a long partnership with QNB. In 2018, we signed a memorandum of understanding, which formalized that partnership, which continues to this day. QNB provides 14 scholarships for CMUQ students, and we look forward to many more in the future. And each year, they hire many of our graduates. Today, Mr. Abdulla will share how QNB's vision and corporate strategy helped it grow into the largest bank in the Middle East Africa region. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a question and answer session that's going to be moderated by Abdulrahman Darvish Fakhru, one of our graduating seniors in the Business Administration program. Please join me in welcoming Abdulla Al-Khalifa to the Dean's Lecture Series.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم الجميع. First of all, a small correction. I've been in QNB for 27 years, not 30. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity to be amongst you today. And before I start on the presentation on QNB, let me say a few words on the exceptional relationship that we enjoy today with CMU. We would like to extend our thanks and appreciation to everyone in CMU for the great relationship, and we hope that we will be together able to further build on this relationship on the coming years. CMU today is no doubt one of the most appreciated universities in Qatar when it comes to business industry. The quality of people that we receive from CMU is something that we cannot hope for better than that. And definitely the university contributes to the national vision of Qatar of being a knowledge-based economy by providing a great educational experience to each and every of its students. So thank you very much, CMU, and we hope that we will do more together on the coming years. So now we turn into QNB. So what is a vision and a strategy? Vision is a company will decide where they want to be. A strategy is the mechanism and the plan to achieve the vision. Back in 2006, or end of 2006, we always been, since inception, the largest financial bank in Qatar. 2006, we sat as a team together, saying what's next for us. And that's where we decided to do the first strategy for the group. We were number 11. Despite that we're the largest in Qatar, we were number 11 in the GCC. And we debated for days and argued on our own capabilities. And then we decided that we can do more because we're good in what we do. But one fact that we all agreed that Qatar will not be enough to satisfy our growth ambitions. So we need to go cross-border. The second thing that we also agreed on is Qatar is a small country with a small retail population. So our strength is not retail. Our strength is a wholesale, a corporate banking in general. So our aim was to be top 3 on the GCC in 5 years, from number 11 to top 3. And how did we execute on this? We expanded internationally. The first thing that we did, 2007, we opened 4 branches, Oman, Kuwait, Yemen, and we acquired the second Housing Bank of Jordan. We continued the journey to expand internationally. So in total, what we've done was 17 countries during the 5 years, from 2007 till 2012. The biggest was our acquisition of our Egyptian subsidiary, which was owned by the French in 2012. So after 5 years, with the disciplined execution and with a lot of hard work from within the team that in the bank at the time, QNB overachieved its strategy by becoming not only top 3, but the biggest in profitability on the region. We came from $700 million in 2007 to $2.3 billion by end of 2012, which made us the largest in terms of profitability. That was not the end of the story. We then went to make our second strategy, 2012 to 2017. And the aim was to become Middle East and African icon. So again, we continued the same momentum. In 2013, QNB was ranked the world's strongest bank, which was a very strong, that was done by Bloomberg, which is a very respected service provider. By naming us the world's strongest bank, we got a lot of attention regionally and internationally. And that on its own made QNB the choice of partnership from all the regional and international banks. And that has significantly enhanced our dealing with the global markets. Again, we continued our international expansion. We went to China, India. We bought stake in a sub-Saharan eco-bank, opened an office in Vietnam, and most importantly, in 2016, we acquired QNB Finance Bank, which is the 5th largest private bank in Turkey and was one of the best performing banks in the country. 2017, we opened our branch in Saudi. So by 2015, 2 years ahead of our plan, QNB successfully became the largest bank in the region, bigger than all the banks in the GCC, the rest of the Middle East, and Africa. So until today, QNB is the largest financial institution with increasing competition from neighboring countries. And we're trying our best to maintain balancing between Qatar being a home market and international operation. Okay. After 17 years of hard work, QNB is the largest financial institution in the region. QNB is operational in more than 28 countries. QNB family are more than 28,000 staff and growing. And as they say, numbers don't lie. This summarizes the story of QNB in the last 17 years, going from a $20 billion bank to $338 billion as of end of 23. This year, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary, and we will be busy writing the next chapter of the success story. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you once again for coming here and speaking to all of us and truly teaching us about the amazing story of QNB. So now I'd like to start the question and answer moderation session. So again, it's no shocking to us all that QNB has been a standout success ever since it's the beginning of its operations. So my first question is, what has allowed the bank to constantly deliver such successful results?
I think the most important thing is the clarity on the direction forward. We realize our strengths and weaknesses to focus on what can generate the growth. So back in 2007, we realized that we're a small country, we cannot do much in retail, we're strong in wholesale banking. So QNB was a key player in the region for structured finance. So all syndications, all project finance, all asset-based financing, QNB was a leader. We were leader on the region by the number of transactions that we successfully concluded. So focus on what we're good at, and our international operation have balanced the volume of business that we generate.
So with that success as well, with not just QNB, but also with Qatar. So Qatar has been kind of working towards this goal, which is 2022, and we all know that was a complete success. So now that that goal has kind of been completed and achieved successfully, what is the next big goal for Qatar?
The World Cup was not only about football. The World Cup was preparing the country for the next stage to come. Recently, the third National Development Strategy was released, where the first strategy was focused on infrastructure. Second strategy was focused on investing in oil and gas. Third strategy now talks about fintech, talks about tourism, attracting direct foreign investments, and further making the country as a hub on the region, mainly for industries and for businesses. Yep. So the World Cup was a showcase where the world have seen what Qatar has to offer, and I am sure that everyone agrees with me that the country managed to impress the global media with what it can offer.
So in your answer, you also briefly mentioned fintech, which is very interesting because we can see that now fintech is growing exponentially over the last few years. And there's also a lot of startups getting into the financial sector that are focusing on fintech. So what do you think is now the role of fintech in the development of the banking sector in Qatar?
If you look at what fintech had offered during the last 10 years, it changed banking. I mean, somebody once said that banking is necessary, banks are not. Now we're competing with fintechs. We're not competing, we're complementing each other. If you look at today what's being offered on the digital channels, now you can open an account, get your credit card, apply for a loan, do anything you would imagine digitally. You don't need to visit a branch, and that would not have been possible without the fintechs. Today, majority of the operation that we have in the back office in QNB is automated. Now we have robotics. Many new initiatives that being generated by the fintech industry being adopted by banks. And that's what is helping banks enhance their proposition. But they're not competitors, I think they're partners in what we do.
Absolutely. And that kind of also goes into my next question, into like, what do you see as kind of the key growth avenues for QNB now in the near and upcoming terms?
I think international operation. I mean, we will continue. Qatar will always be the home market for QNB. We will continue to dominate. But today, we have something like 55% market share in Qatar across all sectors. And that cannot be grown much because we have another 9 local banks, 9 good local banks that we're competing with. So international operation will be the growth dynamics for the bank. We're today in more than 28 countries and growing. And we have been very clear that we are looking at acquisition opportunities on Southeast Asia. So whenever an opportunity comes, we will not hesitate to capitalize.
So the future for QNB, I'm sure, is just going to be like amazing. And coming now from a recent graduate, now recently graduating and going into the workforce, what would you say is your message to students who are getting ready to start working now in the corporate world, in the corporate environment, and now more for the recent graduates that are coming into this job employment?
I think most of the new joiners are fundamentally strong from educational perspective. What they need to be aware of, they need to be professional on personal development. They need to be committed on enhancing their own experiences and capabilities. But they also need to think outside the box. And they need to embrace challenges. They need to enjoy it. Because life is changing. Dynamics are changing every day. We're considered old generation. We need the new generation to tell us how to change the way we do business. A lot of new joiners that we received on the last few years, from a quality perspective, are much better than where we were at the time when we joined. So they're very strong educational-wise. They just need to have the will to enhance their own experiences and enhance their own careers. Opportunities are there. The private sector today, we're the highest company in the private sector today with Qatarization. We have 60% of our team in Qatar today are locals, which is around 1,700 plus. Many other private sector companies need good quality locals. So your graduates are one of the best potential people that any private sector company will look for. But they need to have the will and to invest their time to be better, and I think they will do great.
Thank you for that. That's amazing advice to hear, truly. So I also want to give, I'm sure students and people in the audience also have questions they would also like to ask Mr. Abdulla Al-Khalifa. So please, there are 2 microphones there on the side. If you have any questions you would like to ask or inquire, please stand up and do so, and please be our guest. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation, how you're doing and how you incorporated banks in different countries. I wanted to ask you, why are you choosing particular Southeast and South Asian countries? What is the reason for that? And are you planning to expand in Central Asia, maybe in Europe or in other countries? And do you have any particular information about women for workforce with male workforce, and in which particular departments is the most prevalent? And yeah, thank you.
If I heard you right, there are 2 questions. One about why are we going to Southeast Asia and not other region, and the other question about women contribution to the workforce. Okay. We have today presence in 3 continents. When we look at where can we, as a bank, compete and add value, I think Europe is difficult for us because they have great banks with huge experiences. And US is difficult because of compliance requirements, because day one, before you recruit business people, you need to have 200 compliance. and we cannot have time for this. Southeast Asia is an area of growth because it's a growing population. Number of banks there still have a room for more, and our international experience today can generate a good value to those markets. Just to give you an example, on QNB Finance Bank, the bank we acquired in Turkey, we have 5 million credit cards. In Qatar, we have 400,000 cards. So the platform that we have in credit cards in Turkey are state of the art. We're now bringing the experiences from Turkey to Doha and taking the experiences from Turkey to Egypt. We also have digital banking. So we have a digital bank in Turkey called Mbara. Today, it banks more than 4 million customers. Only digital, no physical presence. And that being now separated on a separate entity, expanding the proposition to Egypt, and we're applying as we speak to Saudi Arabia for a digital bank. So that will be a subsidiary in its own. So we're very strong on our digital offering, and we think Southeast Asia would be the most suitable. But we want a sizable bank, good price, and a control stake, which is not difficult to find. But we're trying. In regard to the women in workforce, today in Qatar, within the local population in QNB, we have around 1,700. Women makes 65% of the 1,700. Today, many senior executives in the banks are female. I don't know if I can say this, but women are more committed on work ethics. Their problem is that they lack flexibility. They're very tough on following policy, but they're good.
Thank you very much.
Please, you also have a question.
First, I'd like to thank you for this great presentation. My name is Hayal Manna'i and I go to Georgetown University, but I'm really interested in the corporate environment. So my question for you is, do we have Qatari representatives working in our international branches of QNB?
Thank you for the question. Yes, we do. We have what we call the Envoy program. Well, we started with a program that we called Ambassador, that Qataris would go to international operation for 3 months. And then we realized that 3 months is not sufficient for them to gain any experience being abroad. So we changed that into the Envoy program, where we send Qataris for a minimum period of 2 years, which can be expanded. So you start with 2 years, if you like it and they like your contribution to the operation, you continue for further. We have in Turkey people that have been there for 5 years. The problem that Qataris are hesitant to go outside. We would encourage them to do so. But going away from Qatar, where they have all the privileges, and going to Europe, for instance, we don't send them to difficult countries. Only London, Paris, Singapore, Switzerland, Turkey, Egypt. But we're struggling to have enough. The best thing that we would hope for is our envoys will remain internationally for many years, and they will take a bigger jobs. They will be our eyes and ears in each and every country. But the program is growing. It's not too big today, but as we go, we'll try to make it attractive enough to attract more.
Thank you so much.
Please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for the presentation. I had two questions. So first of all, what was the greatest benefit that QNB has seen by the acquisition of Finance Bank in Turkey? And secondly, what benefits did QNB has seen by introducing the RippleNet transaction or money transfer technology recently?
See, when you want to expand internationally, you can either go organic or acquisition. Organic on big countries is a hassle because you're small and you're playing in a market with the big players. So you start small, in 50 years you'll still be small because despite how efficient you grow your operation, other bigger banks will make it difficult for you. So acquisition gives you a day one market share, but you pay a premium. When we acquired Finance Bank in Turkey, they had 13,000 people in the bank, making it was around $35 billion bank. We tripled their profitability on the last 7 years when we took over because they were not doing wholesale. They were not doing corporate. They were good in retail and small businesses. When we came with our expertise, we grow our wholesale. So the bank has grown significantly over the past 6 years, and it's making us around 1.8 billion Qatari per annum. So you're buying an operation that makes up and running day one. Your other question about the Rebel, it's a service. You know, Rebel today is one of the best options for money transfers. Tomorrow, one of the new fintechs can bring a better idea, we will shift. Our aim today is to satisfy and meet our customers' expectation. We build relationship. We can take many advantages in different occasions on a short-term benefits, but we know it will fire back one day. So we never underestimated our clients' mentality. So we try to do best service day one to maintain.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Harsh. I'm a medical student from Cornell. It's quite evident that QNB has enjoyed a lot of success, but I wanted to ask if you could give us an instance of where QNB hit a roadblock and how did you come over that?
Can you say again, please?
Hi, I wanted to ask, so specifically, like it's quite evident that QNB has enjoyed a lot of success. We've seen it complete so many milestones, been the headliners in so many events. But could you give us an example of where QNB was sort of tripping, where it did hit a roadblock? Could you give us an example of something like that and then how you overcame it?
When you're working on more than 28 countries, you always have challenges to deal with. I remember on the blockade, 2017, there was a lot of pressure from our investors. You know how the bank funds its own operation. We have capital, we have customer deposits, and we have bank financing that we take. QNB was reliant on corporate deposits. So when the blockade happened, a lot of clients were nervous of what's going to happen to Qatar. Would our money be safe enough to keep it, or are we better off to take our money? We lost something like $26 billion on the first 3 months. This is beyond what a single bank can accommodate. But thanks to our board of directors, we've always been conservative. So when it happened, we had $11 billion of cash. And we borrowed another $20 billion on the first 3 months. We paid off every single claim on the day it was claimed. Although that we have the right not to pay, because when you place money for 1 year, you have no right to take your money before the 1 year ends. But voluntarily, we decided that we will pay to just make sure that all the international investor community understand and realizes how resilient the financial system and Qatar as a whole. 6 months later, every single client or investor who left came back, and bigger. So today I think we have gone through the most difficult stress test that any financial institution would go through successfully. And that is reflected by the existing rating status of QNB. Today our credentials are compared to all, it's better than many international banks. We're one of the highly rated banks on the region and globally. But again, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much for your time.
Please.
Thank you for the presentation. My name is Amik. I'm a graduating student from Business Department, and my question comes for international acquisitions. So as we've seen, QNB's growth comes from mainly international acquisitions, and the question is, what do you do after acquiring those companies? Based on the Turkey example, you said you went to wholesale. What do you do? Do you do corporate restructuring? Do you change the strategy? And what is it that QNB has that separates it from other banks? And what is the reason that you have such a massive growth for the past 15 years?
I think fundamentally it's the team. It's the team who drove the bank from where it was to where it is today. Without such a loyal team and hardworking, this will never be possible to achieve. And it's not about single person. We never had a Superman. But as a team, we've always been a Superman. Expanding internationally was not easy. We made a lot of mistakes when we first expanded because we never had the international experience. So yes, we made mistakes. We learned from those mistakes. And year on year, we're better. Today, after having 17 years as a team with the international exposure that we had, yeah, I think we have a very good team that can decide where is a good acquisition. And if you follow the feedback, we've done many acquisitions. Many of them are small. But the two main acquisitions was 2012 in Egypt and 2016 in Turkey. If you read about those two transactions, those were the best transactions ever done in Turkey or in Egypt. We're very careful and we're very disciplined. We don't overpay. We wait. Even in Southeast Asia today, there was opportunity that's been offered to us but did not meet the criteria. We didn't go for it. We're not desperate. I mean, 2023, we just released our financials 2 weeks ago. We were 8% up in bottom line, achieving 15.5 billion Qatari riyal in profitability and 4% in balance sheet. We closed the year with 1.2 trillion Qatari riyal. We're the first bank in the region to touch the trillion because we have a strong engine. Any addition has to be a good addition for us to consider. Other than that, we're not in a hurry.
Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. My name is Ekaterina, and I'm Information Systems major at Carnegie Mellon University. I think a lot of people here would like to know, like we are in the technology-focused university, and maybe you can share what is the way for you to find, evaluate and adopt the technologies.
Can you repeat your question?
Sure. My question is, what is the way in your company how you're finding, evaluating, and adopting the technologies? Like maybe you are planning to focus on, I don't know, AI or like some blockchain technology. I'm not really familiar with fintech sector, but I would like to hear more about the process of how you're doing this. Maybe you're focusing on acquisition, as you mentioned, but more locally.
See, we rely on the group today. So our fintech center is in Turkey, in Istanbul. And that was for a reason, because there is a scale in the market. We're hosting today more than 35 initiatives in Istanbul and trying to make them see the light. Any new ideas? We do internal assessment. AI is another dimension that is yet to impact what we do, but it's coming either way. So we do have a team today looking at what are the pros and cons and how can we adopt AI without taking too much risk associated with it. It's not easy today. I mean, today cyber security is one of the biggest concerns that any financial institution may have. So you want to promote technology and you want to maintain a strong cyber security. We spend today more than 80% of our annual capex on technology. The rest goes to cybersecurity. Today, all the banks or all the players in the financial industry are driven by technology. How fast and how good can you adopt into the new technology? That's the challenge. That's the $1 million question. But we've been trying hard.
If there were any initiatives, like if there were any successful acquisitions in the Middle East, like in the last, like let's say 10 years, specifically like in the technology sector, like made by QNB?
I think robotics was one initiative that made a difference in QNB. Open AI or open platforms is something that we've been testing over the last period. But again, digital channels are taking most attention.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answer.
So I'm not too technical when it comes to this, but I did my best.
I get it. I have one more question, and this is the last one. Basically, I'm the founder of the health tech startup, and we're on the early stage. And my question is, maybe there are any initiatives led by QNB to support, or maybe funded by QNB to support the local companies, like small and medium enterprises?
We would love to support. If we like the idea, we will support it. But I think there are other bodies with, I think, QDB, Qatar Development Bank. They have their incubation center. They have another thing I forgot, but we in QNB, if we like the idea, we'll be more than happy to look at it.
Okay, thank you so much.
So we have now currently ended the Q&A session. Once again, I'd like everyone to thank Mr. Khalifa for joining us today as well. Thank you so much, truly. And now
So, yes, thank you, Mr. Abdullah. And how about a round of applause for Abdulla for his emceeing. So, at this point, we do have a little memento of your time here, and so we will give you this as a memory. Okay, so that concludes today's Dean's Lecture. Thank you all for coming out. There'll be more Dean's Lectures coming up in the forthcoming future, so take a look at that. Delighted to have you here, and now I'd like to invite you all to join us for a little light lunch served at the back. So thank you all for coming.